What
Good
up?
evening. All right, check. Good evening, everyone. My apologies. It's all my fault. I am 10 minutes late. Um, you're welcome. You are, wow, bright. We tuned in to Free Thinkers. So it's 8:05. It's way past 8:05, and we are about to get started. So if you want to get in, make sure that you go to our Facebook page. Our Facebook page will has a StreamYard link in. If you're watching from Facebook, make sure you sign up to our Facebook page as well. If you're watching from Facebook, make sure you log into our YouTube page. I think we have a good show for you today. I'm not sure exactly what direction we're going into, but we're going to find out really quickly. I
Right.
think Denise, you're going to quarterback this for us.
Got it.
Number one, keep in mind that this is adult content, also adult language. So, depending on who you want to be listening, make sure you keep that in mind. Also, make sure you have something in your ears so that the sound doesn't bleed. Be prepared to come with your thoughts, ideas, and originality. Speak from the heart.
Mm.
We want to hear from you, not your representative. That's what free thinkers is about. You may present your representative all throughout your business and life and career and all that. But when you come to free thinkers, put that to the side and bring your true authentic stuff. We're gonna have a good conversation. So I think I covered everything in a short period of time. How you doing, Denise?
Yes. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I had a really good weekend. My man came to see me.
Hey,
So that's why I was a
hey,
hi. That's why I was all dressed up and stuff.
hey, we got an
Y'all seen
OG
the
free
picture.
thinker right here. That's back from the cellar. This
Back
is
when it was
back from the
meeting of the
cellar
minds.
days.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, hey, way back then. So we got
I
Haley.
was
Haley,
getting
how you doing?
real.
Rolling in the Minnesota streets. Okay, I'm sorry, Denise. How are you
All
doing today?
good,
Tell
all
me about
good.
so
I'm
you.
good. I was just saying, if y'all seen my page, I have my little cute little outfits on this weekend. That's because I was out and about being
Oh,
treated like the queen
that's
that I
good.
am. You see how that's
Good stuff.
y'all need to go back. If y'all want to know what's going on, watch all the old episodes of Free Thinkers where I share every episode there is a section where I talk about my love life.
They said go back about 3 or 4 months. If you go back about three
Go.
or 4 months, then Denise was on one. Denise was
Yeah,
on one.
I was on one. I'm on one. I'm on one now. But yeah, so that was really fun. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I forgot how it feels to just be like taken out on a nice
Mm,
date, not a hangout, not a
yeah.
situationship, just taken on a nice date where I can put on a nice, cute
Ooh.
dress,
Mm-hmm.
where I get to be my feminine self,
Mm-hmm.
just dainty as I want to be. It's been great. Yeah.
So, okay. So I have a side note for anybody who's watching, especially this is for the fellas. Um, let's if you're interested in someone, let's get away from the ambiguous. Hey, what you gonna be doing Friday? I'm gonna be here. What you? No, if you want to take someone out on a date, be specific and intentional, and tell them, "Hey, I'd like to take you out," and then you put your best foot forward when you do that. Um, Sometimes
And are you
because of the
free? Do you have dietary restrictions, etc.? Go ahead, Q. My bad.
no, you're fine. All I'm saying is,
Oh wait, Q broke up. Q, you're frozen right now. All I think what Q is trying to say is that men be intentional with women. Women love that. We don't want that wishy-washy, what you doing text that day before. We want that week in advance
Right.
because we have things to do. As just
Well,
like a man. Go ahead.
kind of what you were saying too about it was nice to be in that feminine, soft version of yourself.
Yes.
It's the intentionality that brings that out, because if you're intentional
Yes.
about you asked me out 2 weeks ago, and like you've been following up and you've been on your shit and you've been saying like, hey, do you want to do this, do you want, like, and we've been really clicking like that, and you're being intentional with it,
Right.
that's a game changer right there, because now I know that you're going to be here at 7 o'clock when you say you're going to be, and you're going to do what you say you're going to do, and vice versa.
Exactly.
Right. And like when you're first
Yes.
starting to see somebody, that means that now I can trust that you are who you present yourself to be.
Exactly. Exactly. And it kind of like ties into what we're going to be talking about today, which is like the discipline aspect. Because like it takes discipline for you to be where you're going to be when you say you're going to be there,
Yep.
and so like it takes discipline to actually make a plan in advance, because like you said, you got to follow up on that thing, you got to reach out and do X, Y, and Z. And so like for me to just be able to just free my weekend, this is what we're doing, and like then I don't have to think about anything, I don't have to plan anything, I can just worry about like how pretty do I want to be, what like the most I have to stress about is like what am I gonna wear, like something like that, and just show up and just be like wined and dine. And it's not even but I do want to say this, because like I've dated before, because I grew up poor, so I'm not a materialistic person at all. However, what I did realize, for people out there who are dating, what I do realize is if you are a person who's dating for marriage and for something serious, like you want to start a family, you do need to date someone who can afford to take you nice places. And let me tell you why. Because what everybody else is saying on the internet is they like want to use a man, or, like that kind of stuff. Not even close. The reason why you want to date someone who can afford to take you somewhere nice is because if they can afford to do those kinds of things, that means likely they can afford to start a family. They can afford to start a life with you. But if they can't do that, they're not ready. They're not ready for that. So I think it's imperative that you make people like take you out and do nice things for you. Like not someone who just so happened upon you, but they have not prepared to be a husband, and they have not prepared to be a wife. Like you want somebody who was like, this is something that I am working towards, because then you know that they have done all the work on the back end. Q, what we were just saying is like how important it is.
I was listening to you.
You heard, yeah, and so that's what I learned this year is like how important it is to
you don't want to start off on a struggle bus.
You do not, and it's not to say that if your partner is on the struggle bus at some point in time that you don't pop in and do what you need to do, but you don't want to start there. It's just it's not a good place to start. One of my buddies, when I was dating over the summer, and I asked him, I was like, how do I know if a guy is serious or whatever? And he was like, how much money does he have saved? And I was like, what? Like I was like, oh, come on, dude. He's like, well, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know. And then as the summer went on, I was like, oh, that's what you mean. Because like by the money you have saved, like if you want to be a homeowner and
right. It's about the discipline that it took to save that money. But then kind of tying into what we were saying too about if you're dating somebody seriously with the idea of having a future with them, it also takes discipline to step outside your emotions with that. And like,
tell me more.
Like, okay, so the guy that I'm with, instant attraction. And that's really what it was. Both of us were in different scenarios at the time. And so that attraction became the middle ground. It became like that bonding point, so to speak. But because neither of us had the discipline or self-awareness to step back and look at the situation as a whole, I just had to ask my daddy for $20 to go feed my kids tonight. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, and I work full time. I won't even, I work full time. I won't hold y'all. So
yeah.
I mean, that in and of itself, it takes the discipline to also put yourself in a better position, the discipline to recognize that emotions are temporary.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that takes time. Thanks for being on. That's so real. That's so real what you just said, because it's a lot of people who go through that and experience that, have experienced that. I think not only does it take discipline, but it takes living. Some
Yeah.
some stuff you just have to have lived life to be like, oh, okay. Like I see what this is now. Okay, and so moving forward, I have to do X, Y, or Z. But some stuff you just don't even know until you know.
Right.
Q, you're marinating.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because of the angle that we're looking at it from. Because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people immediately will look at gold digger or materialistic type of mindset. But if you think deeper into it, just you having money saved up, it speaks to the preparation that you have for the future or for a future versus I just want to have fun in the moment. And when you don't have anything really saved up, then that's kind of, you're only looking to live in that moment versus looking towards a future.
Right.
And that's what anything in life. If you have um whatever you're preparing for, if so for instance, Denise, you do music.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't prepare a budget, how serious are you about music if you're not preparing for the next video or for the
Yep.
next cost, the studio cost that it's going to take for you to
Yep.
complete these singles and complete those albums? Are you and you know and I hear this all the time in business and in music and a lot of things. People say they want to do things, but they have not shown that they put forth the preparation effort to actually achieve these goals. So then the question
Right.
becomes, how serious are you about this? Is this just a pipe dream, or is this something that not only do I have this goal, I know what this goal is going to cost me, and since I know what this goal is going to cost me, then I've made preparations to make sure or to give myself the highest level of potential success with my endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
And when you try to
Yep.
meet a woman and you have nothing saved and you really haven't prepared anything to take her out on a date or take her places or to just really enjoy each other without money being an issue, you haven't made future preparations on what it is that you say you really want. So then
Right.
we have to re-question, do you really want it? Or are you just trying to catch a feeling, FEELING, in that moment?
Mm.
Well,
Mm.
and kind of simplified too, that also the more serious that you take yourself and the more disciplined you are with preparing for what you want and what you want your life to look like, the more seriously other people will take you.
That
True.
is so true. Like
Especially like if you're starting, oh, I'm sorry. If I was
no,
gonna
no,
say
no, go
too
ahead, go
that
ahead.
if you're starting to see somebody, I know like how you make somebody feel goes a long way. So if somebody takes me out and we're having a good time and he never once had to worry about the money for the evening or whatever, that shows me that he's serious about not only the act of dating, but he's also serious about me. And that
Yep.
in turn, and that in turn makes me feel wanted, heard, safe, all of the things.
Exactly. And again, it's not
Yeah.
even that you
Okay.
got to be. Oh, go ahead, Q. Go
No. You're
ahead.
fine. You're fine. No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you're
Wait,
saying.
Q, can you change the bottom thing to say discipline instead of access? Because access is from last year. And what's your name?
Haley.
Haley. Haley. Haley, you're dope.
Thank you.
But what I was gonna say is, like, let's say you ain't quite where you want to be in life, right? Because none of us are.
Right.
And you do meet a young lady that you like, but you claim you can't take her nowhere. But on the weekends, you're getting drunk with your homies.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're showing your priorities like there. Like
Right.
and because you may be a younger person, you may not quite be ready for marriage, but maybe you want something serious, whatever the case may be. But then there's also like what Q was speaking of earlier, which is, or Haley may have been speaking about this, but it's like as is above, so is below. When you were mentioning like uh how you treat yourself and how disciplined you are with yourself, it will reflect in how other people treat you as well. And that's 1000% true. And so there's so many places I want to go with this, but I'm just gonna let it flow. I feel like
Okay.
a
No,
lot
no,
of
no. Take your
times,
time. Take your time. You said
take my
that.
time,
Go
take your
ahead.
time. Okay, yeah, let's set it up. Let's set it up. Let's set it up. So, okay, let's start with what we used to do. What is the definition of discipline?
Oh. If I had to sum it down into one word, I would say control.
Ooh, that's
If I
good.
had to elaborate on that, then I'm trying. It's hard to use the word without using the word, but
Yeah.
I think it's a
it's
combination.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was gonna say a combination of like control and drive.
Control, drive.
Ooh.
I would also put.
Ooh.
I do like drive. In addition to that, and these words don't even connect, I would say practice.
Yeah.
I would use ooh, that's a good one. That's good. I'm trying to I'm
You
trying to
know,
think how they can.
I heard someone describe discipline like this, and it was so good. I think it was Mike Tyson. He said, discipline is doing what you need to do, or what you need to do like you love to do it, or something like, even if it's
Mhm.
something along the lines of like even the things that you don't want to do, like you love to do
Right.
it, or something like
Like
that. Was like
doing the things that you hate
the
to do, you do it as if you love to do it.
yeah, like
And
that.
that's one of those things, even so, a crazy thing. I don't know how you feel about this person, but Floyd Mayweather. Do you
Hmm.
know Floyd Mayweather he's been retired for probably about 7 or 8 years. Do you know he still runs 5 to 6 miles a day? He
A
stays
day?
in boxing. Yes. Early in the morning, he still gets up
Oh.
every single day, 5, 6 miles a day. He runs, he goes through the motion. He's trained and so the thing about Floyd Mayweather, even if you said, "Hey, we got $10 million for you if you do this fight in 3 weeks." He's ready because he stays ready because he has discipline to do those things. It's not like I'm going to do this because this event is here. I know this event is coming, and there's some, and so for instance, and I'm using this in the fighting game. There's some people who, when they know they got a fight coming up, then they're like, okay, let me get ready. I need this amount of time. Give me 6 to 8 weeks. I'm gonna be ready. Right now, I'm actually 25 pounds overweight, but I'm gonna work myself down to it and make sure I'm ready by the time. If you reached out to Floyd, man, and you people wonder why he's undefeated, he's never lost a fight. If you needed him to fight in 2 weeks, he'd be ready to fight because he stays in fighting shape all the time, even to the point he's not even fighting. He's retired. People would
Wow.
talk about Kobe Bryant like that. Kobe
Yeah.
Bryant, even after he retired, he was still waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning practicing his jump shot. Like, what are you doing, sir? You're retired. Where the average person would be like, oh man, I'm retired. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm gonna sleep in. I'm gonna get if you looked at Kobe Bryant, he looked like he was in better shape when he
Yeah,
was retired than he did and even when he was in the league. And you
that
see
is
a lot of
true.
people once they retire, then they gain their weight, they face fill out
Hmm.
because it's like, oh, I ain't got to do this no more. But the discipline for people who are truly disciplined, they're always challenging themselves and they stay ready all the time.
Yeah.
So
Because
that's the difference.
discipline, yeah, true
Oh,
discipline
so let
is
me
not
go
based
let
on.
me go to a
Mhm.
music thing. Let me go to a music aspect of it. So if someone said, "Hey, Denise, we want to sign you. We have a deal. We want to do a partnership with you," would you be ready? And I'm just throwing you out there because I know you're a musician. But would you say, "Oh yeah, I have albums ready"?
No.
See,
Now, if I had demos like ready, that'd be one thing. But also, that's not how I make music. I
mhm,
pick like I pick a song, and then I'm like, okay, this is the one that I'm gonna complete, kind of thing. I
right,
don't just like make halfway songs. Like if I
right,
don't like it, only because I'm working on a budget. So
right.
I'm just not even gonna waste my time. But to give a honest answer, I've been talking to myself about this lately about being more disciplined with my practice, like
Right.
actually rehearsing, practicing, ear training, doing all these
Right.
things, and
Oh, golly. Ow.
like all of that. I can honestly say I could go do it. It would
Mhm.
not be to the best of my ability, which would
Right.
be a missed opportunity. Straight up.
Right.
If somebody said right now, we want you to open for so and so, I would not be ready. I
Right.
would not be ready at all. And it's like, could I probably physically do it and
Mhm.
potentially physically do it well? Yes. But one thing I did notice whenever I was consistent with my practice, my confidence was through the
Mhm.
roof. And a lot
Right.
of when it comes to your singing, because singing you can't be timid and all that stuff. It will
Right.
show in your voice. It just simply
Uh-huh.
will. There's no way around it. But whenever I was so consistent with my practice, I was so confident in myself and I knew I was going to hit the note, right? I knew I was
Right.
going to do it right. And I remember one time I was like consistently just like every day, like after work practice. And I was in the train station and somebody had a band there. And I was like, oh, can y'all let me sing? I had never sang like that in my life. But because
Right.
I was ready, I was just like, I've
Mhm.
never done this in my life and probably haven't really, maybe one time after that, done it since then.
Right.
But discipline gives you confidence. And
Yes.
so it just
Preparation. Yes.
changes the
Mhm.
preparation. It changes the game because because you have done right by yourself, you can
Right.
like really believe in yourself because you've done right by yourself. And so that's like one of the beautiful things that I've experienced with discipline. And I've also seen the exact opposite of that. I
Mhm.
remember being disciplined in high school. I ran track. And I ran track because my mom said I was a waste of height. I ain't even that tall, y'all. I'm 5'7.5". She act like I was a big 6 foot or something like that, whatever. My
Mhm.
mom, she used to be a hooper, so she always wanted to be a bee hooper. Never
Right.
happened. Don't have the coordination. Anyway, so I remember like my senior year, I was like practicing and doing this whole thing. And because I was like, I'm gonna be serious, I'm gonna do this the right way, blah 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 blah. And I remember before I started that my senior year, I was in this track meet with this girl and she burnt off on me so bad. Like she was
Mhm.
like a little short little thing and she was out of here. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start being disciplined. And so I started like practicing even outside of going to practice at school. And the next time I saw her, I put the burners on this girl. Out of here. For that one track meet, I probably got like first and second for like almost everything I did that day. It was insane just from just like having a little more discipline. Then I started feeling myself, y'all. I
Mhm.
thought it was me. I was wrong. Stop practicing like that. And then I saw the results of that too, which was then I
Right.
got burnt off on again. So it's like,
Right.
like it's so imperative to not your feelings can't be a part of your discipline,
Mm.
whether they be good or bad. Your
Right.
feelings
Yeah.
cannot be a part of your
Discipline can't,
discipline.
because your feelings come and go. So you can't
Yeah.
be swayed by your feelings. It has to be, I'm compelled by the work itself. So it's three things that come to mind really quick. Number one, just something to contemplate. Why do you think Tupac was able to? He had about 7 albums come out after he died.
Mm.
After he died, he had about 6 or 7 albums come out. You can't. Who else? Who else could do that? You got to have discipline.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think about one of my brothers, Blue. A lot of people know Blue as a photographer. Blue is a master musician. If someone said they needed him and it frustrates me with him, he has easily 3 to 4 albums worth of material right now that people have never heard of, and it's fire. Because
Wow.
he constantly, consistently, even when he's not dropping it, he's always writing. The third thing that comes to my mind is Mustard on the beat. Everybody know Mustard. If I listened to an interview of DJ Mustard, the one who did Not Like Us with Kendrick Lamar. He's the one that produced that song, and he does a lot of stuff. But he talked about, I think he was on Big Boy, for 1 to 2 years, he would send Kendrick Lamar beats every single week that Kendrick Lamar never even touched. He didn't, but he would constantly make beats and send them beats. Hey, this is just something I got, something I got, something I got. So by the time this song that has streamed over 1 billion records, now everybody talking about DJ Mustard. Do you know that he's been making beats consistently, not just for other people, but he sent beats to Kendrick Lamar for 1.5 years to 2 years with stuff that Kendrick never even used. But he just kept sending it because he's like, I'm a beat maker. I'm gonna keep practicing and honing in on my craft. And then when the time comes, then the time came. And now everybody know
Getting his
Mustard on the
feelings.
beat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't even about his feelings, because it wasn't like, I need to do this beat because I need Kendrick to play it. I need to do this beat because beats is what I do. And I need to keep doing it. And I'm going to keep doing it whether anybody's listening. I'm going to keep doing this. And when the time comes, then the time comes. And if the time don't come, I'm still a beat maker. And I'm going to keep doing it. And that's where it touches my heart with Freethinkers. Whether I become world renowned or not, conversation is in my blood. I'm going to do this regardless. Yeah. That's how me and my sister started High IQ. We having the conversations. I'm like, we just need to go and press record somewhere, because the conversation's not going to stop. But that's where greatness comes in, is where discipline and passion merge together. Because when you have a passion for something, it don't matter who's watching. If 1 million people are watching and nobody's watching, that's my passion. I'm gonna do it regardless. Okay, keep going, Denise.
So I don't know if I want to go here immediately or
do it.
Maybe I'll pose okay, I'm pulling the trigger. So I feel like I've realized, and y'all can tell me whether you see this in your life or not. But I'll point to a few areas in my life where I realized where my discipline was not strong. It wasn't even related to like laziness. A lot of times the lack of discipline can be related to something else. So in the group chat, there was this picture that Nikki posted, and it said something like, all the trauma I could have saved myself if I would have been a little less horny. Right.
And hold on, back up with that. I gotta.
So the picture said something like, I can imagine like all the trauma I would have saved myself if I would have been a little less horny. And so I want to unpack that a little bit. And I want to say, I don't think I've ever been
about me and about that. I feel some type of way, but go ahead.
I don't think I've ever been that horny. I do think I've been that lonely. That's why I feel like you're talking about me. And I feel a
trigger right there.
I've been that lonely. I've been that.
But I also think that sometimes people interchange those words. Not even necessarily just horny and lonely, but I think sometimes people interchange or say horny, say whatever, just because it's easier to say that, or it's easier to admit that than to sit back and say, I'm lonely.
Hey,
It's really
lady.
easy to
Okay,
text
hold on,
somebody
hold
and
on.
be
Okay,
like,
hold on,
yo,
hold on,
I'm
hold on, hold
horny,
on.
what you doing?
Hold on.
It's so much harder to be like, hey, I'm lonely. What are you doing? Because
No, no,
that
no, no,
opens
no,
up
no,
a
no.
whole separate thing.
Okay, hold on. And I think it works both ways depending on gender.
Mm.
I think a
Mm.
lot of times men will they don't necessarily say horny, but they allude to certain things around horniness. When the truth is they're really lonely.
Ooh.
But lonely is a term of vulnerability. And men
Ooh.
don't like to be vulnerable.
Mhm.
So instead of saying they're lonely, they're like, I need to get me something to say. Well, no, the truth is you're lonely and you want
You just
companionship.
need a hug.
Ooh,
And
y'all.
on the flip side, it could be different. I don't know. Some women could speak to this as well. So sometimes women could say that they're lonely because the term lonely may sound more acceptable than to say. Now they may actually be lonely, or you might actually be horny, but it's not socially acceptable to say I'm horny. So it just depends. It's kind of things that are socially acceptable based off of
Depending on the
gender.
gender.
People
Mm.
will lean to one thing when they really mean another. I don't know what y'all think about that. That was.
I think there are some cases like that, but I don't know. I mean, maybe because, but also like I'm what they call a sapiosexual.
I've been
So
called that before too.
yeah,
What? Oh, okay, real quick. What does that mean?
I was just about to say. So sapiosexual is like someone who is sexually attracted to a person by their intellect. Like that.
Okay.
That's what like attracts a person to another person. Not to say you don't have to have a physical attraction, but like physical attraction for me does not do it alone. There are so many people that I have found physically attractive that I was just like, ah,
But you
you
dumber than a bag of rocks.
yeah, and it's not working for me. Versus the other guy who's giving me all this good conversation that I can talk to about anything. Like I will be more prone to want to have sex with that person and actually get off, like
Right.
than someone who don't got it.
Mm.
And so with that being said, I think for me, that's why I've never been horny enough, if you will, is that
Mhm.
typically I need some affection. I want to be
Right.
cuddled. There was a dude that I dated for a minute who was not where he needed to be in the sexual department. God bless his soul. But he was a good cuddler because I needed cuddles. I didn't really need that part. And I'm
Well,
telling you,
that's not that.
I'm
That leans to
telling you,
horny to me. That leans to horny to me.
cuddles is horny.
Yes,
Cuddles is horny.
because
I,
horny, the cuddles speaks to the physical need or desire. See, horny don't mean that you got to have sex with somebody. It
unpack
means that
horny
you.
then. Unpack horny for us.
Yeah. Yeah. What are
No,
you thinking?
I'm talking through this. Every
Okay.
time that somebody says horny, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily sex driven or in need of sex. It could be the desire of a physical intimacy. And
I'm going to grab my
cuddling,
charger. You guys are
Okay.
going to hear the basketball
cuddling
game
is a
starting.
form. Okay,
That's
sure,
okay.
no problem. Cuddling is a form of physical intimacy.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. We have a tendency to
Okay.
define things differently. But when a woman may be saying, I need some type of physical affirmation.
And see, I
Ooh.
think the
But
definition of that is gender based though. Because as a
Yeah.
woman, I would not necessarily say that cuddles would lead to horny.
right. Of course. It's the way that we label it though. That's my point.
Right.
But
Right.
you still can be and listen, let me tell you this from what I do know. A lot of women do. I can see it seeping through their pores when they have more of a desire just of a physical connection. Now, just because see, there's mental
Mm.
things that have to
Physical
mental
connection
things.
versus what?
Hold on. Let me say
Okay.
it like
Finish.
this, and hopefully I can answer your question.
Mhm.
There's a desire of a physical, but that doesn't mean that you totally do away with. See, for a woman, you may have a strong desire for a physical connection, but in order for you to achieve that physical connection, there has to be some type of mental stimulation. So when you're
Mhm.
saying that you need to feel or connect and be intellectual with someone in order to be feeling them that type of way, that's not, it's partially a mental thing, but it's still a physical thing too. Don't take away the physical. But you're saying I have to be mentally stimulated in order to enjoy the physical stimulation part of it. So
Yes.
maybe I don't want to cuddle with someone who is dumber than a sack of rocks, because the
I could
intellectual
cuddle
part
with
of it.
someone dumber than a sack of rocks, but
Okay.
thinking I'm going to reach my peak with someone that's dumber than a sack of rocks, highly
Okay, but
unlikely.
why would you cuddle with someone that's dumber than a sack of rocks?
Because sometimes I just want to cuddle.
Exactly.
Why
Physical.
would I
Exactly.
cuddle?
But that's what Haley was saying. You're looking or searching or seeking for physical stimulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, but it's hard though too, because to me, cuddling with somebody is also, it's more of an emotional thing. But that's also why, like, some of it is not gender driven, because for me
No,
personally,
Haley.
I can't bring myself to like be emotionally intimate with somebody, hardly at all.
Well,
Physical
Haley,
intimacy I can do. I
hold
do all
on.
the time.
Hold on, Haley. You
Okay.
can cuddle with your
Okay.
mama or your sister, but is that the person that you're looking to cuddle up with? No, not in most
I
cases.
can't even cuddle with my family. You know, the only people that I can cuddle with are my kids. Because to me it feels too vulnerable, it feels too intimate, it feels
Okay.
too
So let me
connected.
ask you this, and I don't know the answer to
Mm.
this. If you cuddle with your children, does it give you the same fulfillment as if you're cuddling with another warm body man?
Okay, yes, but in a different way. Like, yes, in terms of if I cuddle with my babies,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lot less likely to want that from anybody else, because I
Okay.
feel loved, connected with somebody,
So you're
even though
saying
it's
that
my children.
it completely satisfies the urge to the point like, oh, I don't need a man to cuddle with me because I have my kids with me.
Cuddle, yes, it obviously doesn't erase all the other urges, but
Sure.
that's
Sure.
just because I personally, me as a person, I don't enjoy emotional intimacy with hardly anybody. I live with
Okay.
somebody and I don't enjoy emotional intimacy with him at all. It just
Mm.
isn't, it's just
Wow.
not me. It's too vulnerable, it's too intimate, it's too much.
Ooh, that sounds like a mental block,
Oh,
Haley.
It is. It
Okay.
is.
I have
Okay.
an
That's
assessment.
fair
I
enough.
have an assessment.
Okay, go ahead.
I must feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Haley. I feel like as a mother cuddling your child, you're like their safe space, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I think in a reverse situation where you're cuddling, like you would be cuddling a man, it would maybe feel like more like he's supposed to be your safe space, which is like a different vulnerability than being like, I'm your protector. Like,
Mm.
come to me, like, you're fine. And then that's a different version of let me curl into you kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that's part of the mental block though, is I have not I have not ever felt like anybody else ever was my safe space. I have always been my own safe space. And so
Mm,
I'm not, yeah.
Good.
that's
Thank you
deep.
for sharing. Flipping that to you, Denise.
Hmm.
Nieces, nephews, you cuddling, you chilling with them. Does that extinguish the desire of you having the desire to cuddle with another man?
I will say this, having affection from people that love you
Mm-hmm.
eliminates me wanting to make bad decisions with men.
True. True.
Yes.
Like, because
I agree.
you can be like, one thing I learned over the pandemic is about touch deprivation.
A lot of people learned a
Like,
lot during about the
right,
pandemic.
right. I should write a book called What I Learned Over the Pandemic. But like touch deprivation is a real thing. Like
Mhm.
I went out with one of my girlies. We went to a concert like 2 weeks ago. Now, mind you, my partner, he lives in another state or whatever.
Right.
And like the people I'm around, like I may give them hugs or whatever, but there's nothing, it's like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while, and it's like a hug, and and but my friend, she's very like touchy feely, and I was like, oh well, I haven't had like an embrace or like a arm, like an
Mhm.
arm rub, or like I haven't had that in a long time. And I was like, damn, I'm really touch deprived, because I feel like had I had that all the time, I wouldn't have noted it as a thing. But I was like, damn,
Mhm.
I haven't been touched by anyone in a long time.
Right.
So although it's still not going to take the place of a man, it still puts you in a position to make better
Right.
choices. Because when you're completely touch deprived, you're just like, somebody,
Man,
anybody.
you were signing
So
up for things
yeah.
you didn't even knew you were signing up for. Man.
No, that's true. No, even to the hey, I guess I go ahead. Even to the point briefly, certain times God shows me things, and it was so weird during that time. God allowed me to feel something. He allowed me to feel it because he was sending me a message. And that message was he was I'm not one of those people. I don't know how to say it. But I got into a mode, and I was crying, and I was feeling a certain, I'm like, what is this? And then God showed me what it was I was feeling. And I was feeling the emotions of people coming out of the pandemic that were suffering, like you said, from touch deprivation. And that wasn't even me specifically. And I'm sitting up here and I'm crying, and I'm like, so then I'm starting to feel, I'm like, what is this that I'm feeling? And then God starts showing me all of these things, like, this is what people are feeling on the inside. And he showed me
Ooh.
why they were feeling it. Ooh, I don't even want to go back there. But then he starts showing me, like, and it's not just the touch deprivation, it is the during the pandemic, a lot of people died during the pandemic. And even during the pandemic, a lot of people weren't even able to go to funerals and grieve for the people that they lost. And not only that, a part of that is when you go to funerals, you get a chance to meet your loved ones that you hadn't seen in a long time and embrace them. And so you miss out on all of that connection that goes along with that. And he showed me this is what people are feeling. So he showed me, like, even with the church and other things, you got to get back to a place to where you embrace the practice of embracing and getting back to physical touch again.
I think that's the same
And
too with lots of different moments in the pandemic. Because like I had my son in the
it
pandemic,
is.
so which means that I went through, like, my mom was supposed to be there, she couldn't be. So once I went into the hospital, I couldn't leave until I had him. I didn't have him until 5 days later. I was by myself. I didn't have a baby shower, all of which, not to say that I necessarily needed one, but like all of those moments that you should be enjoying and celebrating. People who had babies during that year didn't get to have those moments either.
Yeah,
Right.
that connection, because the baby shower it's not just a party, right? It's like an opportunity for people to love on you and help you bring this new life into the world, and make you feel secure, and make you feel like
Correct.
you have a community
Reassurance.
and
All of
connection,
that.
and like
Yep.
all of that kind of stuff. And so when you don't, it's like one thing I have noticed is that people talk about how trash dating is, and I think it's beyond dating. It's communication, because we had to spend those 6 feet apart. which then just creates distrust because you're like, oh, this person can't be close to me. You might have it. Oh, you coughing or you look, or you sick. Like you just had to constantly be on alert at all times until we finally got a vaccine and all this other stuff like that. And it just made us like not trust each other. And then while all of that was going on, then we had like what looked to be like some sort of race war or something about to go down. So you got all of that going on. And then it's all these politics. And it was like, it basically got to the point where we as people just didn't know how to communicate. We don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to touch each other. We don't know how to interact. And it is all beginning to unfold now. And there has not been enough of like a global or national macro kind of conversation about how much this has affected how we are with each other and how that is affecting our social skills, our, you know, our people skills, our ability to date, our ability to talk, our ability to understand, our ability to feel closeness, our ability to to be intimate. It has affected so much in who we are. So
well, and it's funny that you say that because I don't think I necessarily, I think I'm just now starting to unpack how much the pandemic and what was going on in my life at the time truly impacted me as a person. But something I literally just thought of, had not thought of since the day it happened, was I live in Minneapolis. So I was here when George Floyd was murdered. I was here when all of that happened. I was, you know, wanted to go to the protest, couldn't because I was pregnant, whole 9 yards. One of my appointments was like a week after this had all happened. And I remember going, and the doctor, who was very sweet, but my partner came with me, who is African American. And when we walked in, she said, I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said something along the lines of, I'm so sorry. Are you guys doing okay? And I'm looking back on that now and I'm realizing that, like, I don't know if I even necessarily registered what she was talking about or why she said anything, because I was so disconnected from everyone and everything, as everybody was during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking like there's so many things. It's like, one, you're a pregnant woman during this time. Two, your partner is a Black man. Three, you're in an interracial relationship when racial tensions are high, and all that in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And because it was already, let's see, it would have been like the first week in June when all of this happened. And because we'd already been on lockdown for close to 3 months at that point, or I think it was close to 3 months that we had been on lockdown. I don't know. I think I just wasn't used to people communicating. I wasn't used to people, you know, reaching out or people checking in. I think that the pandemic also revealed a lot about people's communication styles. And I think a lot of people, including myself, it's easier to just withdraw inward. It's easier to just stop checking up because you can't hang out anyways. So, you know, and so I think that that's the approach I took unconsciously. And I think other people did too.
So let me take that half a step further. This woman tried to check in with you to see, you know, are you doing okay because of this incident that happened? For Black men and Black women, the world sees this incident and it draws attention, but this is our everyday lives. So how often do we get someone to check in on us, like, how are you doing? So when we hear this as a Black man or a Black woman, in most cases, we don't even know how to receive it or handle it, because this is something that we've been dealing with our whole life. So even if you checking in with me now, okay, well, I'm 40 years old. You checking in with me now. I've been dealing with this since I was in my 20s. If you're a Black woman, you've been dealing with this since you were 13. How do I even receive this checkup?
And I think that's kind of how my partner took it too. But then to piggyback off what you were saying, it's funny because we ended up in Minnesota because he's from Detroit. And while we were in Detroit, like a few weeks before, he got arrested for driving his cousin's car. But because he matched the description, they arrested him. They didn't ask for ID, not registration, nothing. I showed up to the police department with his cousin saying, hey, that was my car. He had permission to use it. Still didn't do anything. And so by the time we got here, the reason why we came here was because that happened there in Detroit. And then turnaround in George Floyd happened literally right after. And so that kind of, to go to your point of this has been happening. It just, yeah.
So, Ivory, you haven't said anything. You want to jump in, and then after that, then Denise, you take us in the direction that you want in concerns of pertaining to discipline. I don't know which direction you was ready to go, but take it the direction that you wanted to grab.
Wow, I don't want to go too far back. I was just gonna say about the touching part though. I have a single friend and I make her hug me for at least 15 to 20 seconds, like twice a week.
Yeah.
So not no, hey girl. No, I'm like, she's like, she's like, Ivory, you so corny. But I'm like, nope, hold it, we're holding. It was like, all right, we holding. Because it's biological, it's chemical, that after a certain amount of time, it releases certain positive chemicals in your brain to be embraced for over 5 or 10 seconds. So just imagine you're never getting that. You're not even getting the same chemicals that other people who are getting embraced are getting, like and just it's just really important. So that was it. That was something I was thinking when I was talking.
I like that. I think I want to delve in on like what kind of discipline do y'all feel like is required to be in relationship with other people? You can tell me what you think, like romantically, platonically, job-wise, whatever. Like, what kind of discipline do you think is required to be in relationship with other human beings?
I think the thing that comes right off the top of my head is communication. And I say that mostly because I'm terrible with it. I'm the friend who you can text me and I will be online and I will still ignore your message for at least 3 to 4 days. And eventually I'll get around to it. And it's not because I don't want to talk to you. It's not because I don't love the hell out of you. It's just because I'm not disciplined in that area. But then I go back to like with work. Like I'm a preschool teacher. I'm super disciplined with how often I check in with my bosses, like, because it matters to me. And so I think that when you're in relationship with people, with any type of relationship, communication has to matter too, enough to where you're disciplined about it.
I was gonna say for me, for relationships, and okay, so like romantically, the standard, of course, I've been married for a while, but even when I was young, the standard was through the roof for the discipline you needed to have for me to think that this could possibly be something that I wanted to deal with. But I would say friendship and relationship wise, I don't like people who are not able to self-assess. Like, you don't have to be perfect. You can have a lot of faults, you can have a lot of things going on, but if there's not a level of assessment that I can't be the one always showing you something about you. Like, you gotta have moments where you take a look inside and see what's going on in there. And if you don't have the ability to ever self-assess or just look at what's going on in you, why do you act the way you do? Why do you have some of the behaviors you have? If it becomes my job to have to point those things out, then we're not going to be probably in a relationship. That is so unappealing to me. So people who have the ability to self-assess, people who have the ability to apologize, and people who have the ability to forgive, people who have the ability to be loved. Like, I'm not gonna beat you over your head to love you. Like, I have love to give, but I don't throw love at brick walls.
Oh,
You know, like, I can keep going and going, but these are just some of the disciplines that I
So the
need
first
for somebody
thing,
to have to be in a relationship with them. So,
and Ivy, you talked about forgiving. So the first thing I thought of when Denise asked the question was emotional discipline is probably because in any relationship that you're on, whether it's with friends, intimate, with children, that other person is going to send you on an emotional roller coaster because that person is also still trying to figure themselves out as well.
yeah.
And if you disconnect every time you get upset or every time that they piss you off, or you throw a tantrum every time they throw a tantrum, if you don't have emotional discipline, it makes it very hard to sustain a relationship. So I think for me, the first thing that I heard was you have to have a discipline that operates beyond emotions. If your emotions controls your discipline, then you don't have discipline. But
you don't
that's
have
one of
emotional
those,
discipline. If you'll,
right. But I'm saying if you're not really disciplined, even in general, if your emotions can sway you off of your course or your path of what you are trying to do, it's not even really disciplined. Because like you said, Denise, what you were talking about, the Mike Tyson analogy, discipline will push you past your emotions. So discipline doesn't care how you feel, whether you feel
No.
like doing it. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna
Yeah.
run these 6 miles in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, one of the what's the guy's name? Goggins, David
Love
Goggins,
Goggins, David Goggins.
he talks about that all the time. And he cusses, he cusses ass. So
Mm-hmm.
I effing hate it every day, and that's why I do it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate getting up and running those miles, and I make sure that I do those things that I hate because it ain't about the emotion, how I feel about this, about the discipline of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the state
but
that I'm
Quinn,
trying to
wouldn't
get.
you say though that some of the people who are the best in those kind of physical discipline or work disciplines are the worst with emotions though? They're not always together. They're not always a simultaneous discipline. Like, some people
But
are
I think that's
amazing
also,
at sports,
Okay, Ivory.
amazing at their jobs, and they are horribly when it comes to emotional discipline around
That can be true.
relationships and maintaining
So
relationships.
those are two separate things. The emotional side of it, you still have to work on. You have to
Yeah.
work on expressing and
Right.
conveying your emotions. That's a practice in itself. But if you're swayed and emotions a lot, and Ivory, I can use myself as an example because many people don't know this, but I am an extremely emotional person. Most people don't know this. I'm emotional to the 10th degree. But I had to learn and teach myself how not to be led by my emotions because I would in all of the stuff that I have in this life right now, I would not have it if I allowed my emotions to dictate the day, because my emotions will send me off a rail and I wouldn't speak to you no more. I wouldn't have the house. I wouldn't have the house that I have because I couldn't have the house because I didn't have the job, and I couldn't have the job because if my manager pissed me off, then I'm not going to like it is a domino effect to where I would not be able to sustain any level of success if on a day-to-day basis I allowed my emotions to rule the day. It would literally destroy every relationship and every foundation of building that I've built. And you see that all the time. People will build stuff. It's like, oh, you was doing good at your job. What happened? Oh, they'll say something emotional that deterred them or broke off whatever it is that they were in the process of building. Their emotions allowed them to destroy everything that they had been working on.
Oh yeah, I see people
Because
tear
they
up their
didn't allow
marriages
their
all the time because they
emotions.
you can't
Right.
get a control of their mouth.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Ooh, man,
Ooh.
control of your mouth. And where did that come? When you get emotionally out of control.
And then it's
I
just
can't,
like, well, I just got mad at. No, it doesn't. It just don't work like that.
I can't
You
tell
don't
y'all
get to
what I think
just
on a day-to-day basis.
yeah,
And the
you don't
stuff
get
that
to
I be
just get
wanting to say to
emotional
people.
and just say whatever you want because you were upset. Like, yeah, no, I don't work like that.
It's kind of like there's this TikTok that's going around about I don't know how often you guys are on TikTok, but I'm on it all the time. And there's this TikTok that's around that's gentle parenting, and it's
All
millennial
right, say that
version of
again.
gentle parenting.
You
Gentle
said
Say it again.
parenting.
hold on. You
Gentle
said
parenting, yeah,
gentle,
yep, gentle parenting,
GENTLE.
Yeah,
yeah,
like a
and
You
it's
say
gentle
parenting or parenting?
Parenting.
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 Gentle parenting. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. And it's this video that's going around where it's this mom is telling her child, I'm assuming, you know, hey, I know you don't want to put your shoes on. I know you're having big feelings about that right now. But if you don't put your shoes on, then mom's going to have big feelings about that. And then I might yell and get mad and not know what to do with my big feelings. And we don't want that. And it's a
Yeah,
silly little video, but it kind of is
psychology.
I don't know, it kind of points out
That's
that like
not gentle parenting, but yes.
yes, agreed. It's not. But it's more so the idea that like when you can't control your mouth or you can't control your emotions and how you react to your emotions, you also don't get any control or say in how other people react to those emotions. So if I sit
That's
here and I
true.
spew off
That's
my
true.
mouth and I say something hurtful, I don't get to be mad if my partner doesn't want to talk to me for the
When
next
the
2 weeks.
clapback come in, you can't control the other person's clapback.
Right.
Yeah. And if the clapback is a decision to leave, you can't control that either. And
Uh-huh.
that's when it's gonna really hurt. And I'll say this too, going back to like sometimes things are a discipline issue, sometimes things are a trauma issue, and that's what's the real thing going on there. And I will say I learned with my partner is that when we were getting unruly, it was because his triggers triggered my triggers. So I'll give you an example. If I grew up in a household where we don't talk about anything and everything gets swept under the rug and whatever happens, we just gonna walk around the house like so we gonna act like this ain't just go on and we just gonna go on with our daily lives. That sent me over the edge as a child because I'd be like, we need to talk. We need to talk about what's going on. You know, because I had my stepfather had an addiction to crack. So he would go and be gone. We wouldn't know if he was dead or alive. This could go on for a week. This could go on for a few days. So like and then he would come back and there would be no discussion, right? Now, and my partner, he had a total different experience where it was a little too much, you know, in terms of like the communication style, if you will. So when things get heated between us, I'm like, we got to talk about it. And when things get heated between him and I, he's more like, I need to take a moment. So we literally had the exact opposite triggers, which would then cause communication to get really, really bad because he's trying to go away and I'm trying to go towards him as opposed to figuring out what does the middle ground need to be in this particular
So
situation.
the
Go
highest
ahead,
level of communication or the highest plane energy frequency don't have triggers. The moment you identify a trigger, but the moment you identify that you have a trigger and something is a trigger, you disarm that from being a trigger to you. And let me tell you, and I'm not saying it's like it's easy. So let me tell you, in trial and I'm gonna tell you, when I went through my divorce, my ex-wife routinely would do and say and things that she knew would trigger me. And she would get the worst response out of me. I would present the worst character, the worst representation of myself. And at the end of that conversation, I was like, she got me.
Yep.
She knew what my triggers were. She used those triggers, and I absolutely fell into it. But what I did do is, once I recognized that, you're not gonna get me again on that. So you gonna what George W say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. You fool me, you can't fool me again. And once I realized that this can, because the moment that there's a trigger, that if you whether you recognize it or not, if someone else or any outside force, including the devil, I don't even go to the devil a lot, but including that, once they know what your triggers are, they'll keep those things will keep being used against you because they know how to get you every time. And whether you know it or not, every time they force that emotional reaction out of you, they actually have a level of control over you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want anybody or any entity or any energy having control over me. And I'm like, yeah, I fell for that last time. I'm not going to fall for it again. I'm not going to be triggered by the same things I was triggered by last week.
I feel like that
I was
also
gonna
goes
say-
into
oh, yeah,
self-discipline.
I was just going to
That's
say
what we're
this
talking
too,
about.
about
That's what we-
discipline, though. Operating in mature love is a discipline.
Ooh, yes. Mhm.
Operating
Mature
in a
love.
way, first off, you put yourself in a mindset every day that you wake up to say, this person is not against me. We are
Mhm.
not competing. We are
Mature.
not trying to win. Like I'm going to approach my partner in this day in a mature way. Keep myself in a space that says we're on the same team. So no matter what comes up, I'm gonna keep myself in the posture of this is my teammate. And we're trying to help each other win. So that's if they get upset and say something snappy, I'm not coming back with that energy. This is my
Right.
teammate. If you say something destructive to our relationship, I'm going to challenge you about it because leaving unresolved things in our relationship is unhealthy. So this is
Right.
not about being a doormat.
Mhm.
This is the discipline of operating in mature love. You confront things that need to be confronted. You love on each other. You support each other. And we're going to do it so much and so well, it's going to get easier.
Yeah.
Maturity.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one thing that I consistently say. In a relationship, if you are in a relationship, there is no such thing as one person winning an argument.
Nope. Woohoo!
Everybody
No.
lost. We all lost.
If you don't come to some type of resolution, see eye to eye, connect. If you tear this person down or you get them in an aha moment, you didn't win the argument. You both lost. You both
Facts.
lost. The relationship loses every single time. And it's a breakdown of communication. It's someone cutting off or shutting down, or there's never a win. And you should never look at it like, oh, I had to set them straight. No, you both lost. So if your goal is not reconciliation or you coming to some type of mutual ground and you're just trying to tell somebody about themselves and you feel like you won an argument, you never ever win. The relationship, as a unit, you always lose as a unit. So there's no such thing as I won an argument. Anytime somebody say they won an argument, I'm like, you didn't win nothing.
Oh, you didn't win. Your relationship lost. Oh, and let me add this, Quinn.
You could say you won, but your relationship just lost.
Yep.
The highest form of communication or conflict resolution in a relationship is actually collaboration. You know, a lot of people just think, oh, if we could just compromise. Compromising is okay, but you don't even want to be in a situation where you constantly compromising. That don't even feel good in a relationship. It's actually better to get in a discipline of saying, I'm not coming with my mind already made up. You're not coming with your mind already made up. This is a situation in front of us. Let's tackle it together. Like, let's come up with an idea together
Yeah, I
about how to
agree.
go about this, instead of like, all right, I can give a little, you could take a little. That's fine if you can't do anything else. But, a mature relationship, to me, a more disciplined relationship, is just a lot of collaboration.
I think too, being able to, a big problem that I had in the past was being like, okay, we already talked about this. We don't need to talk this no more. This done. This is. I'm just glad we ain't arguing no more. But I realized that it's actually good to, once things cool down and everybody's got a cooler head, that is the best time to talk about it. And it's the best time to plan for the future of like, next time we're in a situation like this, what would you prefer me to do? What would you prefer me to say? Like, because this is what I mean, but you're interpreting it this way. So what could I say for you to interpret it in the way that I mean it? And that has been so helpful. It's like, what are we going to do when things get heated? What's the plan? Did we tell each other we're going to take a second? Is that what we're going to do? And then, because trying to do it in the heat of the moment, trying to plan what you going to try to be mature in the heat of a moment without a plan is just hard.
One of the things, and a lot of practices that counselors use, I hate. I don't know why, but I don't like them. I just don't.
Right. Come on, Q.
I'm just telling you, I don't. A lot of this stuff. But one thing that I think is so beneficial that counselors do when in a relationship counselor, when one partner expresses a certain thing, and the counselor go to the other person and they say, now, what did you hear them say?
Ooh, that's a good one.
You know
for
how many
sure.
times that a person will say something and they're like, no, that was not what I was saying at all. But it just goes to show how often people can misinterpret, no matter what you're saying and how you're saying it. It has to be funneled through another person's eyes, ears, experiences, and so forth. And regardless of what you're saying, then they could be hearing something totally different. And in order for you to clearly comprehend, it's like, all right, now speak back to me what you heard them say. And when they say that, then it was like, oh no. So then that gives the opportunity of clarification. And when you talk about collaboration and communicating, then that kind of opens the door for real communication. Like, no, I'm sorry you misunderstood that, or you mistook that. This is, now you can kind of re-emphasize or reword what you're saying, hopefully to come to a better resolve. So that's one thing that I do like when I hear counselors do and say that I think is very productive. And the only reason that I came to that conclusion is because it's so surprising how many times a counselor will be like, all right, now tell me, what did you hear her say? And they'll say it and they were like, no, that's not what I was saying at all. And how many times do you interpret that and then you move forward in the conversation, not even hearing or understanding the other person, and you wonder why there's a constant breakdown
in communication? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question, y'all. Go ahead.
What do, Denise, you're in a relationship, Quinn, you're married. What do you guys do to make sure you are continuing in the discipline of being a good partner? Like, what outside things do you do for yourself to,
so for me,
make sure you're being disciplined and being a good partner?
For me in my relationship, not just me, my relationship, but also the type of person I am, I have to challenge. If I don't challenge, oftentimes I can get comfortable just letting things be. And that can be equally as destructive. If you're like, whatever, I ain't gonna even deal with it. No. It's uncomfortable to have the conversation. It may cause some conflict, but it's necessary for growth if you're going to do it maturely and correctly. The immature person in me wants to be like, whatever. Because let me tell you something. I already know this, but Denise, I'm gonna tell you something. Highest men, we have it makes us come off as good people, but it's a terrible character flaw that we have. We will shut down on you. We won't argue with you, but we're going to do what the hell we want to do at the end of the day.
Passive aggressive. They're passive aggressive. He using a lot of words to say, but
We are, I ain't got the word for it. We are extremely passive aggressive, if that's the word that we're supposed to use. But that doesn't, it doesn't make for continued growth or production in relationships. That's the best ingredient for stagnation and a relationship getting stale, and you starting to go through the motions because I'm gonna let them have it. I ain't gonna argue with them. I ain't got nothing to say. They not hearing me. I have my own mindset, my own thoughts, my own frustrations because I feel like I'm not being heard too. But I'm not gonna speak on it. I'm just gonna be like, all right, well. And then you not only do you isolate, you have this isolated mindset, and then it's like, all right, well, it's me against the world. You get this me against the world mindset. I'm telling you, woof. And how does a me against the world mindset work in a relationship? It doesn't. So it seems like things are not that big of a deal on the surface, and on the inside, everything we are blowing things up on the inside, causing destructions internally in relationships.
That's a good discipline, especially when it's uncomfortable. A lot of people.
It is. Because it's in my nature to be
more
like,
men than women, but I mean, I know women like that too who just shut down, like,
because
don't even want to discuss things.
In my thought process, I don't have to spark no type of conflict. I could just let them have it, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna do what I want to do.
How about you?
Not productive though.
The question was, what do I do to be the best partner I can be, like outside of
like
in
what
the
are
actual
some
relationship?
disciplines? Yeah, what are some of your own
Challenge.
personal disciplines that you're working on to be a good partner?
I definitely do a lot of self-assessment. Like, and like we had gotten to an argument and I was like out of control. And I was like, I apologize for it. And
not Denise.
I know y'all can never see that, but I can be pretty ridiculous when I'm emotional and I'm working on it. But I realized, I was like, wow, it does not matter what he said or did. I was wrong.
That's good.
And learning to apologize without saying, well, I did this because
Those are the worst.
Apologize.
You can keep that apology to yourself. Don't even say it.
You can keep it. You can keep it. Because if you're dealing with someone who is mature, they will take ownership of whatever they did. You don't need to try to justify. No, I was wrong. And being able to say I'm wrong.
You don't even have to point out the other person, because a lot in a lot or most situations, two people are wrong. But a mature mind says, I don't even have to point out yours. I can just acknowledge mine and tell you for what I'm wrong about without even mentioning yours.
I'm wrong. And also being able to say I'm wrong and express like,
why,
recognizing
and what's the fix and resolve.
What's the fix? What's the resolve? And what past trauma? Because anytime I'm getting out of pocket, it's my inner child. My inner child is having a tantrum, and she is kicking and screaming, and I'll have to say, hey, this may have made me think about this thing, and I think that's what came up whenever I behave this way. Is this thing from my childhood, and I'm going to work on that.
That's good.
We'll schedule an appointment. Like, I have scheduled an appointment with a therapist. I am not going to do this again. These are the steps that I am taking to work on this to ensure that I do not do this again. And and then allowing space for, I know you've been, very, the way you've handled this when it comes to me, you've showed a lot of grace. However, if something does come up again where this is bothering you, I am opening up the space for you to come to me and talk to me about this again. I have no problem apologizing again. I have no problem assuring you again if I need to,
Right.
because I was wrong. Like just being able to accept that I'm wrong, being able to show how I'm going to do better about the things that I've done that are wrong, and
Right.
and not making my trauma that an excuse to behave in a way that
Right.
is just ridiculous and unruly and immature. Meaning, like, I can recognize that this is what this is, but this is
So
not going to be an excuse.
that's the definition of accountability.
Right. Accountability, being accountable for my own actions is my biggest thing, I think, that I'm doing
That's,
in the
that's a good
relationship.
accountability. Just ain't saying I'm wrong and I'm sorry. It's saying, also saying, these are the steps that I'm making to improve or correct this behavior to make sure that we are productive moving forward. That's good.
Yeah. And another thing I try to think about is just like thinking about the relationship in terms of keeping things fresh, like almost like going back to, I think about, okay, how were things when we first met?
Right.
When we were younger? What was that like? Okay, what could I be doing? It's like I said, I go on this date. I'm acting like it's a first date or something like that because I'm like, I want to look nice. I want to, like, not like, you want your partner to still be attracted to you. You want your partner to look at you and be like, dang, girl, like that's,
Yes.
instead of just being like, well, you've been with me all this time, just like, no, like I'm like still wanting to impress the person I'm with. Like, I feel like that is such a big part of like the thing is like, I want him to say like, oh, you look good, or I like your
Right.
hair, like, like I got a new perfume or what, just trying to impress this person. And because if you're saying, hey, I want you to be with me and only me, this is
Why?
the only meal
Give me a
you
reason.
getting
Yeah.
from
Right.
now until kingdom come.
Put it on the
This
clean plate.
meal,
Put it on the clean
okay.
plate. Garnish around it. Even if you ain't eating garnish, put the little parsley and the garnish around it.
Put
Make it
your
look
little greens,
appetizing.
right? Don't reheat them fries. Get some fresh fries and put them down in that grease. So it's just like thinking about things like that of like, how are we gonna keep this fresh?
Right.
Because I don't want him to start treating me any kind of way and like not still
Right.
being sweet to me and taking me out and doing stuff with me. So
The biggest I'm still stuck on that accountability part. The craziest thing to me, how for some reason people shy away from accountability because for whatever reason it makes them feel weak
or
when they
guilty.
are guilty, weak, vulnerable
It's a
when
lack
they
of vulnerability.
right. But the crazy thing is accountability actually shows the most strength. People who are the most accountable are the strongest, and they even not only are they the strongest, they appear to be the strongest person. And let me tell you why. Because a person that's accountable, they don't give credit to outside sources for their existence of where they are. Everything is me. I have the ability to control my current, my future. I control my destiny. I take responsibility and accountability for that. I don't give credit to outside sources for my failure or my demise.
Come on.
Everything
Yeah.
comes to me. And that's a sign of strength. I have the ability to control my destiny. Anything that's happening well in my life or anything that's happening terrible in my life, I don't give credit to outside sources. I don't give credit to the government. The government is why I can't get this, and the white man is why I can't get this, and women is why I can't do this, and men is why, and my family is why I can't. All these other outside sources. You weaken yourself when you give more credit to your surroundings for your current environment than you give to yourself. But what accountability does is I say, everything starts and ends with me. I can have whatever I want, or my relationship can be whatever I say it's going to be. And it's all in the power of my actions, the power of my tongue, the power of my declarations, the power of my movements, the power of my energy. It's all controlled by me. What's more powerful than that? The weakest thing to do is always blame something and somebody else. So then you take away your power. I can't do this because of this. I can't do this because of that. You make yourself weak.
I live on that street. You know, I'm nothing. If I can help it, nothing. Nobody has control over these emotions or how I move, but me and the Lord.
That's the question I was going to ask. Q, Ivory, Haley, if this applies, how do you all manage the line between I am responsible for my life and being able to acknowledge the creator and also acknowledge, okay, then we do have the forces that might try to come against us? Like, how do you balance those two things without being like, well, because if you take accountability for everything, you're like, everything's on me. How do you fit God into that? Do you understand the question?
I
think-
understand it completely.
Oh, go ahead.
Haley. No,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna say, for me personally, I think I do it where like I'm responsible for my own reactions to what is put in front of me. So if God steers me in a certain direction, I'm responsible for how I react to that, and I'm also responsible for taking the steps that I know that I know I need to take to follow where He wants me to go, if that makes sense. And then, similarly, when I feel I don't want to say threatened, but for lack of a better term, when I feel threatened or when I feel the presence of evil or when I feel the presence of Satan or the devil saying, at work in my life, I'm also responsible for how I react to that. So it's not necessarily saying that presence isn't there, but it's saying that presence or that influence, it has no hold on me. It doesn't have control over me because I have control of myself. I have self-control over my own reactions.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
So Donnie McClurkin had a song that said, "After you've done all you can, then you stand."
Just stand.
First part of that is, but the first part of that is after you've done all you can. So self-evaluation is the first part of it. And self-evaluation will keep asking the questions. Q, did you do all you could do?
Ooh.
Now, when the question is no, then it's like, dang, okay, I got to do this better. Then it goes back to self-reflection, self-accountability. When you sit back and you be like, yeah, I did this, I did this, I moved forward, I walked in faith, I made these steps, I did this, I was proactive, and you knew you did all you can do. There's a different type of peace because it doesn't guarantee a positive outcome. Some things, life is still going to be lifing. But when I know I did all I can do, I'm like, hey, God, hey, the rest of this stuff, this is on you right here. I know I did all I could do. And I can be at peace with that when I know I did all I could do. When things are out of my control and out of my circumstances, I'm not going to trip. I ain't going to worry about that. The things that I can change, then I work on it. The things that when I know that I've reasonably, God, and let me say reasonably, because it's not also saying that you got to be perfect and you got to do everything exactly right.
That part.
Because some people sit there and they will nitpick at themselves because they're always looking at something that they could have did. This ain't about you being perfect. It's about you moving in action and doing what you can do in a reason from a space of reason. And then after that, hey, this is how far my fingers have reached and can reach. And I believe that God will extend to the parts that's outside of my reach. But my job is to make sure that I reach as far as I can go. I
It was me and Quentin were actually on High IQ yesterday. We were talking about prayer, and I feel like we kind of talked about this, and this goes back to the discipline part for me too. Is first off, I'm trying to be in constant communication with God all day anyway about like, hey, is this it? Is this right? Is it the right thing to say? Do whatever, and that's a discipline too, right? It's just staying in a kind of constant communication with God where you feel like you're being led and guided. Now, this was the other part because I don't believe in getting stuck too because, oh, I didn't get that big sign from the Lord about should I do this or do that. I'm like, I live a pretty disciplined life with God. I live a life that's disciplined enough with God that I'm pretty confident in my decision making and that
Come on.
it's in line with the word and his will and his values because that's the kind of life I already live. And so I'm open for him to lead, direct, for him to redirect. But if I don't get that, then I'm confident in the life we already live together and the choices that I'm making.
That's good. And I like too what Q was saying about the discipline and not you don't need to be perfect. You know, you will still make mistakes. You will still have that piece of cheesecake. You will still miss a day of exercise. You will still say some things maybe you shouldn't have said. Like things will happen. There doesn't need to be perfection in discipline. But I will say the more disciplined that you are, the more uh coverage you have later. So for example, like I run I run an exercise like 3 to 4 times a week. And last week I just couldn't do it. I was like, I had so much stuff going on. My partner's coming in town. I'm running around. I'm doing laundry. Like I literally do not have the time. And I listen to my body as much as possible. Now I still had to run this 5K on Sunday, and I had done no exercise the entire week. But because I regularly run on any other week, any other month, I was able to have something in the tank and have enough training to be able to complete that. So when you are disciplined, it makes up for those times where maybe you have missed the mark if you can be more disciplined than not. I do want to ask this question because we're like at 1:30. I want to ask everybody, what is a place in your life where you were very disciplined, and what did you do to get to that space to get that discipline in that area of your life?
I would say that I am very disciplined in my classroom, and it took failing at classroom management, several centers, several classrooms in a row, for me to finally realize that the problem was not the kids, the problem was me. And the problem was me showing up to work, acting like I could just show up like it's just any other job. And instead of being prepared and using self-discipline to make sure, like now, when I get to work, I purposefully show up 15 minutes early so that I can stand in my classroom and look around and be overwhelmed for about 10 minutes before I get my ish together and figure out what I'm going to do for the day. But that's a self-discipline thing. Would I love to sleep for 15 extra minutes? Yes, I really, really would. But I know that in order for that day to run smoothly, not only for the kids, but also for myself, I have to be disciplined in order to do that. Because that it just doesn't work for me otherwise. But it took hard conversations with former bosses, former directors it took demotions. It took quitting childcare for a while. It took all of that before I finally realized that if I'm not going to show up with some form of discipline, I shouldn't show up at all. And so now I would say that my classroom is the one spot in my life that I am incredibly disciplined in. And I don't have that discipline with very many other areas in my life, but I do in my classroom.
So you would say, like, if you could put it into a formula, it would be what?
Preparedness, I think kind of as we were talking about it earlier, I feel like preparedness edges its way into the definition of discipline. So for me, it's preparedness, it's drive, the motivation behind it, and then consistency too. Just being completely 100% consistency. And not, I'm the type of person where if I allow myself to take an inch, I will take a mile. So I just have to have it in my head that I can't do it. My start time is at 8:45 every morning. And it doesn't matter if, oh, it's Friday, it's fun Friday. We don't have to, nope, I'm gonna be there at 8:45. Because it might be Friday today, but Monday will roll around. And that goes into what you were saying too about, or kind of what all of us had said at some point tonight, but like if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
So if I show up those 15 minutes early on a Friday when all I'm doing is orchestrating a dance party, then I can use those 15 minutes to get ready for Monday. And then come Monday, I'm good. So yeah.
I would say, oh God, this is making me feel like I'm not a very disciplined person, but I was like extremely disciplined. Communication, relationships, is probably what I'm most disciplined in at this point in my life. Me and Quentin were having this conversation before. I think it was on one of the shows. I think we were talking about like hating or something. But anyway, but the point was, I was saying how annoying it is when people say, "Oh, you have a great relationship," or "You're great because you have such a good partner," or you know, and I'm like, the amount of work and discipline that I have put into this area of my life, the hours of book reading, podcast watching, I mean, that's probably what I've just put a lot. So on my end, I would say education and application. I really, really believe anything you want to be good at, you should really, really educate yourself about it. You should really know all the ins and outs of it, and then you should apply and see how it goes and readjust and come back and tweak and come back again and do some more tweaks and then you look up and you're kind of like an expert at it.
That's good. That's good. Application and education. Yeah, because that's how you know. You have to apply. It's one thing to say you know, it's one thing to practice what you know.
Can you teach?
Right.
Teach other people? Can you apply it? Help other people.
I think in most cases, Pat, it's like almost like a cheat code in a lot of instances. When people say they have discipline, I think there's very few people have discipline, and there's a larger majority of people who get credit for being disciplined, but it's actually not discipline. And I think the cheat code is passion. When you find something that you're passionate about, that the passion is the fuel that gives you that discipline to do so. And you know what? It's not even discipline. It's the passion gives you the fuel to do something repetitively over and over that makes it appear as though it's discipline. And it's in some cases, it's not necessarily discipline. So for instance, I'm overweight right now. I'm probably 20, 25 pounds overweight. I'm fighting to get this. The real reason why I'm fighting to keep this extra 20 pounds off is because I messed up my back about 8 years ago, and I can't play basketball the way that I used to, in all honesty. As much as if y'all see me online and I'm doing these workout videos, lifting weights is not my passion. My passion is playing. I've been playing basketball since I was 6 years old, fighting with drug dealers and gangbangers across the street from me, like to get on the court, fighting. Like that was my passion. I was willing to fight grown men, fight other. I love basketball that much. Nobody ever had to remind me, you gonna get out and play. I played every single day. I didn't do homework. I was a junior Olympic athlete in track, and I did not practice. and I would skip practice to go play basketball. All I did was play basketball. My parents did not, I would be out all night, and they didn't, where they would make my sisters come in at certain times of night. They would let me be out all night because they knew I was just going to be at the basketball court. It wasn't something that I had to try to do. It was a passion of mine that made it appear as it was a discipline.
And then he come home, drink 2 liters and eat everybody's food.
Yeah, right.
But when you love something so much, then the discipline is easy. It's almost not, it's not even a discipline. See, now I have to have discipline to go to the gym and lift weights because I don't love that. I love boxing to a certain point, but I don't love it like I love basketball. Literally, the only reason, the moment that I messed my back up and I couldn't play basketball, that's when I started gaining weight and I started not being in the same shape that I was. As long as I could play basketball, I was always in shape because you never had to remind me, oh yeah, you got to get out there and do it. No, I'm going to do it all the time. So that's that thing. So the passion is what makes up for more than anything. You got a passion for something. That's why I said, that's why Blue, even he don't even do music. He does photography, makes his living off of photography. And if he don't talk to nobody, he showed me all this music that he's constantly doing. He's writing these verses, he's putting these hooks together, he's arranging these melodies and doing all of this because that's his passion. And even when nobody else sees, I'm like, man, I wish, because I'm not privy to show everybody else what he's showing me. I'm like, I wish y'all knew it. You know what? I remember you and Blue used to do music. I'm like, he still do music. He just don't let nobody else see it or hear it. And it's crazy dope. But that's where passion come in. But then the other thing is when you don't have that passion that gives you that long lasting fuel, you have to find purpose. If you find purpose, then that can be your substitute for passion. So for instance, simple, there's some things my wife may tell me about certain things. I might not be interested in it, but what I am interested in is getting closer to her. And though I may not be interested about the specific thing she's talking about, I'm interested in being connected to her world. So even if it's not direct, you still got to have a purpose, a general purpose behind why you're doing anything. My general purpose. I sometimes when I'm tired and I'm getting off of work, sometimes I just want to listen to my music and zone out. But I'm intentional about cultivating my relationships. So I might call an uncle or a cousin that I ain't spoke to in a year, and I'll call them because my purpose is cultivating relationships. I have an interest in that, even though that's not really what I desire to do at that moment. And it's not something, it's kind of uncomfortable to try to call up or speak to somebody you ain't talked to in a year. But my bigger purpose is I want to cultivate relationships with everybody that's within my vicinity and circle. My purpose trumps what I actually desire or feel like doing. Just some thoughts.
That's good. I would say right now where I am the most focused are disciplined. I think it just have to be like just physical exercise. That is where I'm the most disciplined, more than anything. The way I did that is I did a lot of mental training. So I listened to a lot of like David Goggins and like I had to I listened. So that's why I knew I was familiar. You don't know me, son. Like I'm familiar with Goggins, like that dude, because he talks about his story. So it's good to hear. Right. I listen people like David Goggins, people like Kobe, Will Smith. There's this one thing I listened to called Will Smith Motivation, and this is like a bunch of series of clips. There's Will Smith talking about a bunch of different things. But I train my mind anytime I'm about to do something that I know is going to require insane amount of discipline for me to do, I will train my mind to understand what it's going to require of me. And I think the main thing with being disciplined is understanding what it's going to require of you. Because when you don't know what it's going to require of you, it's really hard to stick to the task, because you start getting caught off guard. It's like, oh, I have to do this. Oh, I'm going to feel like this now. Like, so it's just like trying to get a scope of what it means to exercise. Like, again, understanding like, yeah, most of the time I go to the gym or I go for a run, I don't want to. I can count the days where I was like, yeah, I'm pumped. I'm about to go do this. Typically, it's not that. Typically, it could take me anywhere from 15 minutes to 2 hours to get out the house. Just to make myself leave and go do it. Just to convince myself that this is what I need to go do. And like understanding like once I get out there, like I'm probably going to feel really great. Those endorphins, like I'm going to feel great.
Right.
I feel like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with, what's his name? Ric Flair. He's a wrestler, but after I go for a run or go exercise, I feel like Ric Flair. I just start talking crap. Like I feel amazing about myself, because I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? I did something I didn't want to do, and there's something I cannot remember the name of, but there, David Goggins talks about this. You can hear a lot of guys who do extreme like exercise talk about. There's this part in your brain that when you do the stuff that you don't want to do, like this part of your brain like expands and increases, and like it I think it can like help you live longer and like all kinds of other benefits of like increasing that part of your brain, like your will to live and things like that.
That's it. It's called will. You help build your will.
Ooh, that's so good. Yeah. So yeah, I would just say like any that part of my life, and then also it's fear based too. Like I had so many people in my family like died of cancer, or like I've had so many people in my family have health conditions and things like that, where I'm like, no. Like I told you I had to get fibroid surgery this year, and I was just like, no. Like I gained a whole bunch of weight before that, and my knee was hurting me, my hip was hurting me. I'm just in pain. I'm like, I know I'm going to be 40 soon, but this can't be life.
Are you serious?
I got 2 years left in my 30s, and I want to be 40. And I'm just like, I get that. I get that. Like, okay, I'm getting older.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you always say that every time you always say that.
So Denise, I just got to the point where I see you in your 30s. I'm like, okay, well, she's 31, 32. I finally acknowledge you was in your 30s.
Yes, I got 2 more years. Yeah, and I'm like, I want a good quality of life. And that drives me. That is my why. For music, what drives me is I want to help people. I'm going to tell these stories. Somebody's going to be like how I was when I was a kid, and they're going to listen to this and they're going to be like, I'm not alone. And so that drives me to keep going. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is my whys. I don't think I have enough passion for anything. It's my whys that I like, that I have my passion for my whys. Beyond that, there's like, I'm just like, whatever. I'm like a leaf blowing in the wind, doing whatever I want.
I'm so it's too, Denise. That's why I be like,
right.
Denise, I'll be teasing you, but I don't tell Ivory. I still, you know, when you got a sibling, like I'll just see my little sister all the time. I'm like, she's
9 in your head.
She halfway to her mid 40s, going into her feel like she in her like
I'm not
middle,
going into
middle.
50s now. Wait a minute.
I mean, you
right. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Comfortably into your 40s.
42.
My point is
early 40s.
Just the thought or the concept of that blows my mind. It's like I don't. It's so hard for me to even comprehend.
Blow my
that.
mind
like,
too.
That's too
The
funny.
little
Oh, but
baby. And not
Denise,
only
this
that, it ain't just her, but everybody still treat her like she the baby too. So I'm like,
I
this
know. Oh,
this
my mom still
40-year-old.
introduces me like that. When I go home to visit Denise, my mom will be at the store and they're like, "Oh, this your daughter? This is my baby."
That's
Mom,
cute.
I mean, I am like your youngest child, but at this point in my life, you might
I
want
don't
to
see it
stop
either.
introducing me as your baby, though.
And she's so little.
That's too
She's
funny.
so little.
Actually,
If you ever
I'm
met.
4'11", but I'm not actually.
I'm 4'11" too, and 3/4, and 3/4.
Well, I'm like actually 4'10" and 3/4.
Okay.
So I just round up.
Moved up
The
to the
3/4
third.
counts. It really does.
They
It
really
does.
count. It's the
It
difference
does.
between
So wait,
4'10" and 4'10" and 3.
are you two actually siblings? Q and Ivory?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell for real. But
Yeah, no, we're actually siblings. But yeah, so yeah, no, yeah, I'm actually a pretty tiny person. And my kids are little too, so we're just like a big little
yeah,
group of munchkins.
my son is so far, he'll be 5 in like a month. And he so far is taller, on the taller side. But
Oh, that's so cool.
my daughter's 2.5 and she's tiny. She's tiny.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, my son's 4, and there are 2-year-olds that are like as big as he is. Like
Yep,
he's a little guy right now.
that's cute.
too cute.
Oh, my
But
kids
Denise, I
are
was gonna
dying.
tell you about discipline too. You know, going into my 40s, and this happened to me when I was about 38. I was like, I'm not creaking into my 40s. So I lost a bunch of weight, got really in shape. Now I've gained a little bit of it back, but the part that I'm still very disciplined about is my mobility and my flexibility.
Mm.
I will be able to get up and off of the floor without moaning,
Right.
groaning,
I gotta work on that.
popping. I like literally walk from my desk to other rooms on my knees, do the little crab walk.
Uh,
I'm very serious about these knees
yeah.
and about this flexibility and mobility because
Good.
it's so important.
It
So I've
is.
I've been very disciplined probably the last 4 years about my flexibility and mobility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love
It's
that.
important. Like,
It's very important.
like good quality of life. Okay, this is my last one, and then I'm gonna let us go because it's 1:52. I was watching a podcast. It's Angela Rye's podcast called something Native Land podcast or something like that. And something they do at the end is like a call to action. And they have everybody give like a quick call to action or something. Like, is there anything that you could think of that could be on topic, off topic, that you would like to bring people's attention to?
Consistency. Go for
Mm.
2 days.
Mm,
2 days. And that's for anything. Whether you're a writer, whether you do music, whether you're trying to work out. 2 days. Go for 2 days.
yeah, yeah.
And after you go for that 2 days, see if you can go for the third. Like it has to start somewhere.
Mm,
So if you don't look so far down the road that it becomes unattainable. Say,
mm,
okay, well, you know, you want to
mm.
be a millionaire. You don't know what a million look like. How often, how long have you had $1,000 in your account? See if you can hold $1,000 for 6 months. See if you can get to 10,000. Become a 5-digit earner. Then from that, see if you can get 25. See if you can get start at attainable goals.
Mm.
And then see where, if you start somewhere, then you see where you can go. If you look so far down the road to a place that you've never been, then it just stays a fantasy.
That's so true.
Me saying that I could be this world-class athlete and be in this type of shape and have this type of, I look at my favorite person and look at this type of body where I'm at right now. it can become so unattainable, it just becomes a fantasy. But
Ooh.
can you give yourself 15 minutes today and tomorrow? Because if you can give yourself 15 days and tomorrow, those are the seeds and the setting goals to get you eventually to what you see as unattainable. Then you can start seeing it. I just use physical as an example. Same thing with money, same thing emotional. Can I have a day without having a breakdown? Can I give 2 days where I know I want to say something where I would normally set somebody straight? Can I normally say, you know what? I'm gonna go talk to God instead of talking to this over here.
Mm.
If you can give yourself 2 days, then you can start setting seeds.
That's
And
good.
then from that, then you ain't no telling where you go. You just give yourself the possibilities of other things. So that's all I say.
I would say, oh, and I love that starting small. Just piggybacking on Quentin, because so many things you start small. You just look up and you be like, "Wow, how did I get all the way down this road? I've been wanting to go down this road so long." Anyway, so
Mustard seed.
thoughts, behavior. Oh, your thoughts get you your behaviors. Your behaviors get you your results.
Mm.
So if you're unhappy with your results, you need to look at your daily behaviors.
Yep.
They didn't come out of nowhere. They ain't nobody else's fault. It's what you're doing every day. It's how you behave. It's getting your results. You're behaving that way because there's a certain thought. You know, we have these consistent thoughts just rolling through our head, and they're normally on a loop. They normally the same 30 thoughts. We haven't challenged them. We haven't decided to change them, to add, whatever. So my biggest advice to people is that's a loop. And the way you stop that loop is you have to introduce new information into your brain.
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh.
Your
True.
brain needs new information so you can get new
Mhm.
thoughts, new
Right.
behaviors, new results, new information. So just be open to like learning some new things, getting some new information up there so you can get some new results.
And you might look at this as synonymous to everybody. You talk about thoughts, behaviors, and then the next step in between that is, for me, is behaviors. Is your behaviors will create your habits, and then your habits is ultimately what
Your
form your
results.
reality.
Yeah.
Yep, your
Yeah. I
results
can
in your
see that.
reality.
Yeah.
You are an accumulation of your habits
Yep.
in everything that you do. Your accumulation of your habits.
Mm.
And even if something unforeseen, unfortunate befalls you, your habits will make up for and recover and
Yeah. They'll
ultimately
maintain
bring
you.
you back to the place where you are or where you should be.
Hey, yeah,
Mm.
let me just put this nugget in here because when you were saying it, it made me think about this. And Quentin had a crazy boss before, so he'll know what I'm saying. Had a real crazy boss, like one of them ones that's trying to make you lose your mind.
Ooh.
And I remember sitting in my closet thinking, my mind is what got me everything I have. These
Ooh.
habits, the way this brain works, has achieved all of this wonderful thing.
Mm.
No matter what I do, I cannot let anybody mess with my mind. Like my
Mm.
mental health,
Mhm.
my
Mm.
confidence, my assurity in myself. Like I can't let this person take this from me
Amen.
because
Mm.
even if I lost this job, even this brain
Mm-hmm.
could give me all of this again. The only way I
Mm.
can't get this again if I let somebody mess with it.
Ooh. Yeah.
Mm. That's
Anyway,
good. That's
but
so
to your
good.
point that your habits and things will sustain you, like you gotta like really be careful, like letting people mess with your mental.
Mm.
Mine is kind of piggybacking off of that, but I was going to say having as much discipline when it comes to yourself as to other people. Like, I guess what I mean by that is I think that it's really easy it's really easy to say this is my boundary, or this is what I won't accept in life, or this is what I want in life. but it's really hard to be disciplined enough to actually act on that. So when somebody, I have my coworker / we're becoming friends, long story. Anyways, she's really good about sitting back and saying, I will not accept that from you. And like we went to a show, my very first rave, by the way, at 31 years old. Anyways, we went last weekend and we brought another coworker / friend with us, and she got a little turned up. Regardless, our friend Poe, she literally sat and said, I will not accept this from you. You either need to get it together or you need to go. And just how firm she stayed with that boundary, because this was her scene. She has been to these shows several times. This is her happy place. She invited us. And for her to sit there and stand firm on those boundaries and say, no, you cannot act this way in my place of peace. You cannot come in and infringe on this or whatever. But seeing how firm she was, well, she was so firm about it. She was just like, nope, this is my boundary. You're crossing my boundary. That is what it is. I want to be disciplined enough to say, you're crossing my boundary, regardless of how I emotionally feel about you. You are crossing my boundary. Because that's where I get myself into trouble all the time, is I say, well, you're crossing my boundary, but I can see why you did it. Or, oh, you're crossing my boundary, but like, I love you a whole lot. So like, it's fine. And I need to be better about being disciplined.
Boundaries should be absent of emotion. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, okay, so y'all know I've been reading my book on boundaries, y'all. But I finished it because discipline. 50 pages a week. 50 pages a week. 7 pages a day. 1 page, 1 week. I mean, one day you do 8 pages. That's 50 pages a week. Anyways, long story short, in the book, it states that setting boundaries will be uncomfortable. And that is something that you have to accept about setting a boundary, is that you will feel uncomfortable. That, you know, like that, like for instance, something so silly. I saw somebody, so in New York, we go out to eat. This just happened in New York. We go out to eat, and there's not that much real estate. So you can very well be at a table with another person that you're not eating with per se, right? But your tables are like here. And I saw somebody that kind of like met a couple of times on the scene, you know, like another musician, whatever. And I said, oh, hey, how are you? Beyond
like
that,
Alicia Keys and Most Def on the video, you don't know my name.
I knew one person's name, the other person's name that I couldn't remember. But nonetheless, I was there with my partner. I have no desire to have a conversation with you outside of the initial hello. But this is very awkward. I've said my whatever. They're not trying to engage beyond that either, but it just felt uncomfortable because you're here, I'm here, and it feels weird to not continue engaging, but I just don't want to. You know what I mean? Something as small as that. And it made me feel uncomfortable just because I'm like, I don't want to engage with you, but it makes me feel uncomfortable that I'm setting this boundary. But that's what I want to do. So even though this is the boundary I want, it even made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. And that is okay. And so it's just like when we set boundaries, we just have to be okay with the fact that we will be uncomfortable, and just understanding that anybody who respects us and wants to be in a relationship with us will respect the boundary, because a person who wants to be in a relationship with you, the boundaries, they keep us safe and they keep it so that the relationship can grow. And if you do these things, we will continue to be able to be on a path on it within a friendship. But if you don't, we're going to have to dismantle this. So it's totally okay to just be like, yeah, this feels really weird. I don't like it. This makes me feel uncomfortable. I feel mean.
You're explaining why the boundary is necessary.
Exactly.
Because if the boundary wasn't there, then we become willing to move the goalposts based on our emotion.
Exactly.
Or based on our desire to not want to ruffle feathers or to offend anybody else. We'll keep moving the goalposts, but that's the sole reason why boundaries are necessary.
Let
because
me
it has
just say
nothing to
this
do with.
too, even though I know this
Go ahead.
it's not. What else I'm learning as a person who like it sets boundaries now is you're gonna have to trust yourself too. Like trust your past self
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times once you start setting boundaries with people, you start really being true to what you know is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even always gonna remember why these relationships or why people faded or why it like I'm not gonna keep
Mhm.
all of that in my head. What I know is I trust that whatever reason we have this
Mm-hmm.
space between us, I had a good reason for that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, in the
Right.
aftermath of relationships, you try to go through, well, did I or did
Right.
they? Now, I don't even do that no more. I trust myself. Like,
Yeah.
That's a good
I trust
thought. That's
myself
a good thought. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
if that's how it turned out, that I did what I needed to do, and that's okay. Like, it's okay. I don't need to go
Yeah.
back and try to relitigate it. Like, it's good.
Right. Your boundaries
Yeah.
haven't changed, so the
Mm-hmm.
situation that caused the disconnect, it was warranted.
It was probably warranted, and I'm
Right.
not
The
going to go back
boundaries
and second guess
dictated how
myself.
the relationship should continue or not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness, self-awareness. That's what I was going to end on. It's just like the importance of self-awareness. It's so important to be aware of things. Like, again, a lot of the things where we may not have discipline may not even be related to being lazy or, undisciplined, if you will, could be related to trauma. You could want something sweet because you're dehydrated. That like something simple as that, like just having an understanding, like, why am I feeling like this
Right.
today? Or like, even something as simple as before I try to track my cycle just so I can be aware of even my mood changes. Like typically the week before I'm noticing a mood change. Okay, so then I need to be self-aware. I need to
Mhm.
understand that like, am I experiencing this thing with this person because I'm really upset? Or am I experiencing
It's tripping.
hormonal changes that am I tripping?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, just self-awareness has been one of the best things that I've ever experienced. And the way that I became self-aware is 1000%, 100% going to therapy
Mm.
and cognitive behavior therapy, which basically kind of goes back to what RV was saying earlier, which is like, and correct me if I'm wrong,
That's the one I'm gonna do when I'm a counselor. I'm doing CBT.
yes, please. It's
Yeah,
so good because
it is.
your thoughts affect your behaviors and your behaviors reinforce your thoughts. Basically, is this cycle. And they say if you can fix your thoughts, you can fix everything else going on in your life if you can fix your thoughts. You fix your thoughts, you're going to behave a certain way. You behave a certain way, your life is going to change and it's just going to keep
That's true.
going like that.
You
So
would
get that
appreciate
self
that
awareness.
counseling more, Quentin, because it's not like the touchy feely talk therapy. Most people think about therapy and they think about somebody just sitting on a couch.
What's the
I don't
difference
think that.
between DBT and CBT?
Which emotional. They're very similar. That one is like emotional behavioral therapy or something like that. So,
Okay.
but they're similar.
I don't the part that got an echo. The part that I don't like about counseling is the same thing I don't like about pastoring. The reason I'd never be a pastor or a counselor is because there are limitations.
Oh,
And
okay,
there's
sure.
certain things that a counselor can't say, certain things that a pastor can't say. And I never want to be boxed in to be restricted to a certain type of conversation or thought or response to a person.
What do you think a counselor can say to a person?
Yeah.
Man, you need to leave. Look,
Oh,
you need to listen. That nigga ain't crazy. You need to go and get up out of there. Ain't no way around it. You need to
No,
leave.
but they will ask you questions to help you identify why you are staying in a
But
situation that doesn't make
sometimes
you
you need to
healthy.
tell a ninja that they need to get out of there.
Well, okay,
No,
so
but
and this is a whole different. We might need to have a whole show
we need a
we need a whole
pro
show about
therapy,
counseling.
anti-therapy conversation. That's what we should do.
That's
That would be
what we
fun.
need.
It ain't gonna work.
Because I'm saying, Quinn,
Listen, they
studies
not gonna
show
get
that
no
when you
better.
just tell
Things are
people
not
what to
gonna
do,
change.
it's not sustainable as them coming up with that themselves. It's
What
just
you
not
see is
sustainable.
what you get, and it's only gonna get worse. You need to what
That-
they say on the Key and Peele movie, get out. You can't say
Yeah,
that.
listen, this is something that my grandmother used to always say. My mom always said it. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still.
All right, Denise, close us out because we gonna keep on talking. We all over here rolling.
That was good. Thank you, Ivy. Y'all, this was such a good conversation. This was, I mean, it was really fruitful. I really enjoyed it. Haley, it's my first time meeting you. Thank you for coming on the show. I love the things that you
I don't think it was
contributed.
your
Of course,
first time meeting her. I think you actually.
I was
you
gonna
met
say, I
Haley
think I've
before.
met all three of you before. Ivory, do you have a daughter who's
Not
like?
Ivory.
No, I'm saying
Ivy has never
Ivory. Do
been
you
to our
have a
in-person
daughter?
meeting.
I have 2 daughters.
Did you? Q, was she the one
No,
who had
you're
the
thinking
baby?
of Jaslyn. She's thinking of Jaslyn.
Maybe
Okay.
the one who brought the baby all the time.
No, that was Jaslyn.
That's
No,
Jasmine, yeah.
I'm in
Okay.
Houston.
Okay.
That's my
I'm in
play
Houston.
sister. That's my play sister.
Okay,
My
gotcha.
adopted sister. Right. But yeah, no, you never met
You
Ivory, but you
adopted
met
sisters
Jaslyn. You
now?
met
Okay.
Denise before.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I did
I
adopt,
ha-
and she lives
I
in
don't
Houston too.
remember.
I think I told you about her.
I don't forget faces.
Ivory
I
over here
used to
like,
ride the bus. I took the bus to and from the place.
Did you go to Joe? Were you
Genuine
at the
Joe's.
Joe's coffee shop?
Yeah,
You
Genuine Joe's. Yep.
so
Yeah.
then maybe I did. But thank y'all so much. This was really, really fruitful. I think we do have some ideas for next week. But yeah, y'all, stay diligent out here in these streets, stay safe. And at the end of the day, y'all, stay understanding. We're all just out here trying to figure it out. Don't nobody know what they doing. We
That's
all
true.
trying to figure it out. Most people's intentions are good. Anyways,
Mhm.
y'all, enjoy. If you see something that you like, share, comment, tell somebody you know, because we're here to help. We're here to grow the community. We're here to help each other just grow as human beings. And this is what we need. This is our church. So y'all continue to tune in, show some love. And that's it, y'all. Bye.
Good night.